Welcome back. Tonight, I'll show you how dreams are prepared. Love, friendships, relationships, and all those ships. Hello? Are you trying to mock me on the air?
Science of Sleep is the new film from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind director Michel Gondry, and it's about Stefan and Stephanie, two very odd characters, and it's very artsy, this film. It also deals with dreams and a lot of the same kind of strange playing with time and stuff like that Eternal Sunshine did. I mean, that device worked really well in Eternal Sunshine. What did you think about the way he used that in this film?
I think this movie is... It has some of the same dreamlike images, like the bed on the lake, the ice, and Eternal Sunshine, and just this juxtaposition of things that shouldn't be together. He does that a lot in this movie, but he has his own unique style of special effects and animation that doesn't look like what you see in movies these days, and it's really refreshing to not see a bunch of CGI, put together stuff. Basically, I think this movie, it's not quite as good for me as Eternal Sunshine because it didn't have that emotional punch, but it is a great movie. It's my favorite movie of the year so far. I can't wait to see it again, and I just think that Michel Gondry is so in touch with this whole idea that a creative side and reality interfere with each other all the time.
The question that I was left with at the end of the film is about the main character, Stefan. Was he a person who was normally adjusted, if there is such a thing, and just was so creative that it sort of overtook his ability to be social and kind of interact with other people? Or was he actually like someone who had a mental illness or condition, and that he was seeing the world sort of through this? But that's what's interesting about both of those films for me, is that the main characters are sort of living in this dream, the world between sleep and awake, the world between, that kind of thing, the dream area. And I think that's an interesting and valid point of view to look and say, how much of our lives do we experience from that place? Because it's not all just everyday reality stuff. And I think that's the most compelling thing about this story for me.
Stefan has always confused his dreams with reality.
There's a scene where he meets Stephanie, which is the girl that he's trying to woo, and by no means is this your average sort of love story, but they have a moment together where they're throwing cotton balls or whatever onto the ceiling, and they turn into clouds and they start floating. And obviously this isn't really happening. So why are they experiencing it together if we know that he's a little off his rocker and he believes it's happening? Why is she going along with it?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, he obviously is telling a story that leaves a lot open, as evidenced by the fact that there's actually, this film is told in 3 languages. It's subtitled, right. But I mean, there's a distinct, 3 different, narratives going on in 3 different languages at one time or the other, and it definitely adds to the feeling of disconnection from knowing exactly what the narrative is trying to do. But I guess I kind of found it refreshing, honestly, because of the amount of Hollywood films we've watched recently that aren't trying to go for something interesting or clever or really put the audience to the test of, can you come in here and find things for yourself, That's a really good way of putting it, because I don't think he's not worried about spelling everything out for audiences. And I think if you don't have an imagination, you're not going to like this movie. You're going to want to know at what point reality wasn't happening and when it was, and sure.
And then at the end of the movie, what kind of resolution is there, I mean, this is just a story about somebody who is a little bit unhinged and prefers to live in one world over the other, and deals better in that world than he does in the real world.
I like you.
You mean in a romantic way?
You will never date her, okay? She will drive you crazy.
I never get the one I like anyways. I know you're there!
How's your head?
It's okay. It's not normal, though.
It's never going to be.
I think people empathize with what I do because it comes from here.
I mean, for me, honestly, the thing about this movie is a week after I saw it, I was thinking to myself, I am not sure what I think about this film, but I'm bothered by it. And sometimes I think the mark of a really great movie is if it bothers you. If you're thinking about it a week later, even if some of it really pissed you off, this movie bothered me. And for that reason, and because I think Michel Gondry he reminds me of a young Tim Burton. He has an artistic aesthetic that I think is really unique and interesting. So for me, this is a solid rock fist up.
This is going to be a rock fist way up for me. It's the best movie I've seen this year, and I really think everybody should go out and see it.